Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories like these. Now, let's get into today's story video. I'm completely lost because I just found out that my 42 male, wife, 36 female, of 12 years has been having an affair from the police who called me in for questioning involving the assault of her lover. I'm not sure what I'm doing right now. I'm not sure if this is the correct sub or even if I should be posting this, but I don't have a clear head right now, and I'm here to seek guidance. My wife and I have been married for 12 years. We have a wonderful 11-year-old kid. I believed we had a nice marriage until last night. I always believed I was quite kind of her. We don't have any financial or intimacy issues, and I've never taken her for granted. Every morning, I honestly thank God that she is my wife. Now, I'm at a loss for words. As I was leaving work yesterday, I received a call from my local police department. They asked if I could come to the police station right away. I panicked and inquired if anything had happened to my wife or kid, but they told me not to worry and to hurry to the station as soon as possible. When I arrived, they placed me in a room with a table and seats. They asked for my name, which I supplied, and then they began asking me questions about a man my wife works with. I haven't seen or talked to this person since my wife's business Christmas dinner in December 2019. The two cops continued questioning me, such as how long have you known, and how did you find out? What are you talking about? Was the only response I could muster. After approximately an hour, I just stopped answering their questions and began asking where my kid and wife were and whether they were okay. We just continued going around and around for about 2 hours on and off because they would leave the room for 15 to 20 minutes, then come back and start it all over again like some cheap police show. The officer gave me a tablet and showed me a video of my wife and the guy from her workplace having the last time they came in. I don't remember much after that. All I remember is yelling, "What the F is this?" again and over. I experienced a full-fledged panic episode in the midst of the police station. The cops had a paramedic examine me, and he claimed my blood pressure was about 170/110. He urged me to go to the hospital, but I refused, saying I needed to locate my wife and son first. After I calmed down, the cops informed me that the man in the video had an affair with my wife, as well as numerous other women. He'd been beaten, raped, and set on fire in his driveway that morning. He was still alive, but in serious condition, and no one knew whether he would survive. His wife had granted them permission to search his phone and computer, which is where they discovered the footage of my wife. They inquired where I was that morning, and I told them I was at the gym, and then I worked around 10 minutes away from my gym. At that moment, they told me I could leave, but I shouldn't remain at my home since they didn't know whether his involvement with my wife was the reason he was assaulted. They also claimed that my wife was not the only one with whom he was having an affair. That's when I went home. My kid was staying with our neighbors, so I went to pick him up and bring him home. We packed some clothing for him, as well as his laptop for school. I got my rifle and we drove 45 minutes to my folks' place. I haven't heard from my wife in a long time. Her phone has been routed to voicemail. I contacted the cop who gave me his card, and he informed me that she is in the hospital with the man with whom she has been cheating. I'm lying in bed with my kid on one side and my .38 on the other. My father is sleeping in his living room recliner with a shotgun over his lap, and I haven't slept in over 30 hours. I'm not sure where to begin. Right now, any advice or thoughts would be much appreciated. I'm in a daze. Update 1. I tried to publish this on Saturday 12/19, but it didn't go through, and I was prevented from reposting since I posed a yes/no question, so here it is again. I'm working right now, so I may not be able to respond as quickly as I'd want. My first post was deleted, but many people contacted me and requested an update. I thought I'd update everyone on what's been going on this week, since the responses I received were quite helpful. I truly feel like I owe a huge thank you to this community for helping me get my mind on straight and pointing me in the correct way to get things done as quickly as possible. To those who said my message was a hoax, my only response is that I wish it was true from the bottom of my heart. The reality might be stranger than fiction at times. Those who said they couldn't locate a news item should be aware that owing to the nature of the incident, much information was concealed. Even our local news channels simply described it as an attack, and it was just a brief mention on our evening news. Those who indicated or openly said, "The cops wouldn't do that," are completely incorrect, since they did. My lawyer informed me that cops can practically do or say whatever they want, particularly if you aren't being detained, short of outright threats of violence. That includes lying right to your face, which is exactly what they did. When I called the detective, it turned out that my wife wasn't in the hospital with her lover. She had been admitted to the hospital's mental ward earlier in the day, while he was still in surgery. I'm not sure why they'd lie about it, but they did. Needless to say, this experience has made me distrustful of government enforcement. When I awoke that afternoon, I called my uncle's legal partner, a family acquaintance. He arrived at my parents' home and sat down with me to discuss my alternatives. His whole legal company is now representing me in both the divorce and criminal defense proceedings. On that day, Sunday, he obtained an emergency custody order, as well as a protection order against my wife for myself, my kid, and my parents. Our next court appearance is in 60 days. On Monday, while she was leaving the psychiatric facility, she was served by the police. She did not take it well, according to her brother, who is a close personal friend of mine. For the time being, she is living with her parents. I still haven't spoken to her, and she hasn't made any effort to speak to me either. Whether this is due to embarrassment, indifference, or the order of protection, I'm not sure, but I'm pleased of it. My wife is not the person I thought she was, and I'm embarrassed that I didn't see this sooner. I needed to tell my kid something, so I told him the truth, age appropriate, and the first words out of his lips were, "Please don't let mother take me away." I asked him why he would say that, and he told me that my wife had been treating him very harshly while I wasn't there, and she had threatened to take him away and my son would never see me again if he told me. She has been mentally tormenting our son, and I have been oblivious to it. To be honest, it devastated me more than the video. I informed the lawyer of what my son had stated, and he utilized my son's statement, as well as her mental condition and commitment, to get immediate custody. I called his school to inquire about treatment services, and he will begin counseling after the beginning of the year. At this moment, I feel like the worst parent to ever walk the earth's surface. What about our families? Her parents contacted me on Tuesday and requested that she come see us. I was still at my parents' house at the time, and I told them they could come, but she couldn't get near us. They both agreed. They were really sorry, and her poor mother couldn't stop weeping the whole time she was with us. Her father was broken-hearted and kept referring to my wife as that girl. They both said that they believed something was wrong with her and that they did not raise her to be this way. Before they departed, we embraced and sobbed, and I promised them they would always be a part of our life, no matter what happened with the divorce. According to what my kid informed me, their visit was the most difficult aspect of our whole process. So far, my attorneys have done an outstanding job. They discovered that the guy my wife was sleeping with had a lengthy criminal history. When they proceeded to print out the guy's arrest record, the printer ran for 5 minutes straight, according to one of the attorneys. He is presently on parole for narcotics charges and has had gang links in the past, according to what they could discover. He is still alive, but he is in serious condition and may not survive. An investigator from the company called the coworker who transported my wife to the hospital. My wife's adultery was an open secret at the company, according to a colleague. My attorneys believe that's how the cops determined who I was and who my wife was on the video. There are some images of my wife and myself from last year's Christmas celebration at her workplace. That is where I am right now in this predicament. I'm absolutely numb, heartbroken, and lost. How long does the numbness persist, and is there any way to get through this emotional sluggishness more quickly? I mean completely numb, like if in a dream. Everything I've stated thus far has felt as though it were happening to someone else. Stay tuned for the next part.